Hey guys, welcome back to Black Nerds Matter, where we highlight Black excellence in STEM and beyond. Today we're joined by Andreah Pierre, better known as Dre, a scientific illustrator, educator, and communicator with a passion for bringing the natural world to life through art. Born and raised in Miami, Florida, Dre's love for the ocean started early and carried her across the country, earning a biology degree from Pomona College and a graduate certificate from CSU Monterey Bay. Now working as an independent science illustrator, she blends creativity with education using her skills in illustration, graphic design, to make science more accessible and engaging. As she continues carving out her place in the vast world of marine science, she's here to share her journey, the challenges of being a Black creative in STEM, and the power of visual storytelling in science communication. Dre, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. Very excited.
Was that intro up to par for you? I want to make sure they get a good idea of who you are.
Yeah, yeah, that's fun. It's always like humbling, like when they sing you happy birthday, when people talk about
Yeah.
you and introduce you to the crowd. Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
I feel like in Happy Birthday, I'm more awkward than anything. I'm just sitting there like, oh, I don't know what to do with my hands or my face. I'm just gonna sit here and smile until it's over. So
I
I'm
just
glad you
start
did
clapping
more
for
than
myself.
just, yeah, I'm glad you just did more than sit there and smile. So that makes me
Yeah.
happy. So get into a couple questions with you. I want
Mhm.
to know what inspired you to pursue a science illustration as a career alongside your marine biology.
Yeah, that is the easiest answer that I give people to this day. There is a woman in my life named Selma Abdulrahim. She was my mentor back in college when I was like doing my internships over the summer and stuff. And I met her literally the summer before my senior year. I'm about to go into my senior year. I'm about to graduate with a biology degree. And all I got from my academic career was that I knew I didn't want to be in a lab all day, every day. And I love the ocean, I love marine science, but with my bio degree, I focused heavy on ecology while I was in college. And the field work just also wasn't hitting the same. And so I was like going into my senior year, like stressed, like, what am I going to, I went to college and now I don't know what to do with my life. Like that was not expected, you know? But thankfully, the summer before, with my internship, I got partnered with the Whale Museum on San Juan Island, off the coast of Washington State. And I met her, and my task for her as her intern was submitting data reports. So, like, we're citizen scientists, we saw a whale, and it was like, oh my gosh, I saw a whale here off the harbor at this time, and it's great, but there's seven different species of whales. So, in order, like, the data that was actually submitted by citizen scientists is actually used by NOAA and, like, other major sources to, like, track the migration patterns of these whales and dolphins and porpoises and all that stuff. And so, them identifying the actual species was super important. So on top of working with the data, as an intern, my job was to create a personal project. And my mentor, Selma, was just like, what do you like to do for fun? And I said, I don't know. I said, sometimes I doodle, like in my notebook, sometimes I draw. She's like, oh, great. I've been wanting to do these like pamphlets that help people identify whales. This, that, and the third. I think her idea was very much like picture, like take a picture and highlight the thingies. I took it and I ran with it, and I downloaded this fun little app on my iPad. I started drawing. I showed her my first ever illustration was a humpback whale. That's why like I think they're like a top. When someone's like, "What's your favorite sea animal?" It has to be a humpback whale. But my first was a humpback whale. I showed it to her, and she's like, "Dre, this is good. You know, you can like do this for a living." And I'm like, I'm a POC. You know I can't. You know you can't do art for a living. That's not gonna pay the bills. But then she's like, no, like in high school, those pictures you saw in the textbooks, those things you saw, like the posters on the classroom, like somebody drew that. And I was like, whoa, this is a journey. And literally from there, I was able to take that summer project. She helped me transition it to my senior thesis, where I did like these huge surveys where I helped people. Like I literally like surveyed whether or not my illustrations help make more accurate reports. People took it all over the country from ages like 7 to 55, and reporting accuracy went up like 90%. Very satisfying, really cool. But from there, I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I need to do. I need to draw to educate people. Like, it's that much easier. Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. I mean, especially to see what you want to do it through a project, and that's part of the reason why I think going to internships and trying different things is so important. Is you never know who you're going to run into and what kind of
Exactly.
information they impart on you, especially being a person of color as a scientist. So much stuff isn't known, like even the stuff with going to school, how much school costs, where's a good marine science school. Kind of just flip a coin and hope you get where you need to go and you work hard enough. So that's awesome. I want to know more about being in Washington and San Juan. I've never been in Pacific Northwest, but how was that experience for you during that summer? Like, how'd you enjoy it?
Yeah, that changed the game in terms of like my appreciation for nature. So I was born and raised in Miami, South Florida. The beach is 10 minutes from my house, like the Everglades 30 minutes from my house. Like grew up flora and fauna abundance down here, of course. But I think growing up with it, it's just you get used to it. And honestly, it's so funny coming back home after college and having friends visit. They're like, "What? You just have that growing on the street?" I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's a $60 house plant. I'm like, do you want to take some to go? And it's just definitely like, everything is just normal to me. But going to Washington State, like the East, like the PNW specifically, the the pristine nature out there is just mind blowing. The conservation efforts that are taught. So like you already mentioned, I'm also an educator. So I was a teacher out there for a minute, and I remember like going to classes and going in front of these like elementary school students, and I'm trying to teach them about the kelp forest and about plankton and about this, and they're teaching me stuff. They're like, oh, I already know that. Like we're already versus like coming home to South Florida, we're still fighting to get rid of plastic straws. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
like they're charging you plastic, so use plastic over there. So that was really like eye opening. Just like, yeah, I really need to bring this energy back home when I do get back home. But yeah, being actually like on San Juan Island was so it's like a vacation every day basically. I remember there was this one spot, was my favorite spot to just like go and sit at the end of the day. I would look and face the ocean and then turn left and like there's the forest and then turn right and there's like a mountain range and it's just like though it was just yeah, jaw dropping beauty over there in the PNW, not gonna lie. And then but then the winter hits and that's different. Yeah, it's only the summertime.
That's funny how you mentioned the difference between like the environmental conservation here versus in the West. It's so like they're very conscious. I feel like Florida's pretty good like compared to a lot of states in the East. Like just in general, I've lived in Texas before and then living here,
Hmm.
we at least have people care about the environment. They're not paving over everything. Like yeah, we're making golf courses here and there, but man, I feel like it's so depending on whatever state you go to, whether it's Mississippi or New York, Florida, California, the environmental regulation is so crazy to see stuff that's oh man, this would literally be illegal to do, where in this other state is very normal for these people to throwing away plastic. So that's interesting. So I'm wondering from
Hmm.
a college's standpoint, how does that kind of thing affect like how do you feel about that when you with your work, like seeing those kind of things, and does that make you want to make more changes in Florida in different places you've been to?
It definitely does make me want to do more, especially like where I'm from, where I was raised in my own community. I think I just moved back home like last September from the West Coast, and I definitely realizing since being home, I know you've heard it before. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I realized I know a lot of people, but they're all on the West Coast, and which is so funny because I actually just got another science illustration gig in Seattle, and it's like I'm still trying to find my connection and my footings down here in South Florida. And honestly, it's even a little harder for me personally, I feel like, because most of the connections I made were through my alumni network, through college, through grad school, like schooling academics, and I didn't go to school out here, so I think that's hard. But yeah, I know I want to do a lot. I know I just need to like get up and go. But yeah.
Yeah, no, you're speaking to the choir. I went to school here, but like most of my work has been West Coast. So I feel like that transition to both sides is hard because you're like, well, the same opportunities there aren't here, and the ones here it's hard to find. Yeah, that I
Hmm.
understand that. So something else that I have been wondering is what has been the biggest challenge, like as a science illustrator, that you've had to deal with, and especially being an independent one.
I think my biggest challenge right now, like personally, like I'm gonna make this super personal. My biggest challenge is just the world we're living in today. Like it's hard, it's exhausting, it's expensive, and I think personally my biggest challenge right now is I am trying to supplement my income because like you said, I am an independent science illustrator and so I don't have job after job after job yet. Catch me in 10 years, like you don't have to book me, you know what I mean? But right now it's definitely like sparsed out. I don't even know what the word is, but when it comes to my illustration, so I'm like I've been tutoring and teaching on the side. I'm in some classes right now to get another certification so that I can actually literally go work for the government and get a solid paycheck. And just like, I really personally feel like, and I know money does not make anybody happy. I'm very happy. I'm very loved in life. I'm very happy in life. But I also know that money will make life easier. And if I don't have to worry about paying my bills, then I can draw more. And that's kind of where my headspace is right now and for the next like 1 to 2 years. I want to say 2 years at max because I before my goal like before 30, I really do want my illustrations to make up a lot of my income so that I can be like, yes, I am an artist. Right now, I still people are like, what do you do? I'm like, yeah, I'm a science illustrator and I do this on the side. I work for the government on the side, you know? So right currently my biggest challenge is just being able to financially support myself and continue to do what I love. And I'm so privileged and so grateful to say that what I love to do is draw. I love to color. Like I tell people that I color for a living. And it's the best thing ever. And I know I'm very privileged to say that, but I just hope one day that the coloring is like an income for me. Yeah. And I also know I'm still young. I just got into this career, this very PW career. And so, yeah, it's just still finding my connections, finding my people. And I definitely think it's working. Something's working. The gig that I just got in Seattle, actually, she got my name from an older man that graduated from my college back in 19 something, and he's like, oh look, this girl Dre draws, you might need her. And then 2 years later she's like, I still remember you, like. And so it's really, yeah, just finding those opportunities, finding the space and the energy. Yeah, yeah. That's those are my biggest challenges right now. Yeah.
Coming from another person trying to do the same with something creative, I totally understand because you have to find what really, like, you have to be able to support yourself and, make way to do things, to have fun, and still do the thing you love and make that time. And I feel like it's hard because when you're starting out something like that or whatever, it can be thankless for a bit, but it's important. It's awesome that you still have the science degree, so you can still do other things. You can still work for the government. I think it's just really important um, for people to understand that you got to have like to have a side hustle and to make it big or whatever. You still have to have
Yes.
something that you can do to keep you going and to pay the bills because something even if you want to be a rapper or whatever, you can't just start doing
Yeah.
that. Okay, I'm gonna make millions, I'll be fine, and eventually like you have to make some kind of money beforehand.
I should get one of those sponsors. Somebody sponsor me so I can just draw every day.
So I'm wondering, have you always been into drawing, and how did your family react to you wanting to be a marine scientist?
Yeah. I feel like I was always crafty. Me and my sisters were always crafty girlies. We loved Michaels. We're always drawing, painting something on canvases. So my mom, she actually just redid her room, but she had some paintings in here that we did when we were like 10. So art has definitely always been a big part of my family, especially my dad. My dad is actually a portrait artist. Like he would like show us his sketches when we were growing up, and yeah, it was always a thing. Like my dad is a really good artist. But still, growing up, South Florida, parents working all day, every day. It like never explicitly said, but it was very much. I was very much aware of the fact that like I need to make money when I get older to support my family the same way they support me, and yeah, just art was not an option. Doctor, lawyer, engineer, and I'm gonna be honest, my parents weren't as heavy with that because they are first generation immigrants, but they're Americanized. They came here pretty early, so it's definitely like not hardcore like that. But it was expected of me to go to college. Especially me, because of like the way I just did in school. It was expected of me to like make it big. Like I was the one. A lot of pressure, a lot of stuff. Yeah. I'm like losing my train of thought right now. What were we talking
No, I was saying
about?
part of the question was asking how was your family's reaction to you being an illustrator and being a
Yes, and
scientist and
so
deciding to go that path.
yeah. So going to college, finally going to college, got into college, very exciting. Everybody was super excited, and now it's time for me to graduate. And honestly, I think they were pretty impressed. I think when I came home and said that I wanted to do science illustrations, it wasn't just art. It was like a combination of my science career and now incorporating art. And not gonna lie, like the art was pretty good, like my little field guides that I did for my senior thesis, and I think they were impressed enough with the art. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, you can do this, and they helped me get that grad certificate in Monterey Bay. Like super supportive. I definitely could not be where I am today without my family. Yeah, they were iffy at first because it's art, but even today, my mom is like, "Oh, Dre, look, I found this person." My mom went to the doctor the other day. She's like, "The posters in the doctor office was terrible. Maybe you can give them your card and like remake them." I was like, "Maybe I can. Yeah, thank you." So yes, super supportive.
So walk us through the process for when you get an art job, how you brainstorm what you're gonna do, and what it looks like
Hmm.
to go through the steps of creating a graphic.
Yeah. So that's like working with this new gig that I just got in Seattle. It kind of just starts off with like getting somebody reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, are you interested in this?" And honestly, I think I work best when people come to me with projects that are only like half fleshed out, because then I feel like that's when I can really come in and like give my creative juices and my experience and my background as an illustrator. And so this person that I'm working with now, she kind of just came up to me and was like, "We have this idea to create these like murals and signage in a park in Seattle that basically highlights the salmon cycle and how the water runoff from Seattle affects the salmon cycle and the whole shebang." And being like doing work out there in Seattle, I also know how heavy and important Native American history is out there. And that was like one thing she brought up. And she was like, "My team is like iffy about bringing you in because you aren't from Seattle and we want someone that's like connected to the land." And then I like emphasized to them that I am connected to that land, been out there for 3 years, 3+ years. I've done this work, I've done this. Like you can see my work in Washington State if you were to go out there. So it heavily emphasized that. That helped that like ease that tension, thankfully. So I did get the gig, and now it's a lot of logisticals. So how and when am I getting paid? Um, what is the scope of the project? And I think this is going to be a digitalized project. I work traditionally, so I probably will like paint actually like in person and then scan everything to send over because things just like last longer that way. But I haven't gotten the full like, this is the project, this is what we need, but I do know it's about salmon. So literally, but without even getting that, I'm just gonna do at least 2-3 hours of research. Plus the fact that they mentioned they do want to incorporate that Native American history, I'm gonna reach out to my connections and see if they have connections to some like Native American artists that are out there and like make those connections. I think my big thing when I'm making my art is like connection, connection, connection. So like literally not only am I trying to make you connect with the thing that I'm painting, but I hope that I made a bunch of connections while I was doing the work to create this piece. And so just lots and lots and lots of research, lots of talking to people, lots of back and forth. And then we get to the fun part, which is sketches. And I usually, how I work is I'll send you like 3 or 4 sketches that are very different from each other because it's just like completely different vibes. And then it's like, okay, I kind of like where you were going with group number 3 of sketches. And then we flesh that out. Then we get into more detail. Once I submit a piece to you that I say is complete, you're allowed like up to, I think it's been a minute since I had a gig. I think the last one I did, I allowed 2 revisions. And it's just like, just out of respect for me as an artist and you for your time and your money, there's only so much I can keep changing to where like, okay, we're like exceeding the point of the piece and like every little thing, it's not that deep. And
Hmm.
then, yeah, I submit it and then people learn. And it's a great cycle. Yeah.
So something I'm wondering about that, especially with making these deals. Do you ever have issues with people not paying or trying to negotiate deals or anything like that? Because I know sometimes with work where it's kind of like commission based work or whatever case it may be, people may try to get a deal or haggle or whatever the case may be. So how has that experience been for you?
It's been, it hurts. It hurts a little bit. Like it hurts my feelings, but I also like, I'm also learning and growing. I'm like, I have to separate the personal from the business. Like everybody is just thinking business, business, business. So I can't take it personally. But I've definitely had experiences where I agreed on a price and I agreed on a like timeline of getting the money. Like for first month this month. Okay, I'm not afraid of numbers. So first month 1,000, second month 1,000, last month 1,000, 3K in total. And then it got to a point. Oh, and then, so 3K in total for like 3 specific things that I meant to do for you, and then it turned into like 10 things that you wanted me to do for you. And I did them out of the kindness of my heart. And as an up and coming artist, I'm not trying to break connections, you know? So it's also like as I start my career, I'm struggling with saying no to people when I feel like they are taking advantage of me, but that's also because I don't want to sever a connection. I know that if I do finish this, I just get it over with, they're going to spread my name to 10 more people, you know? So that was hard. Did all my work on my end, didn't get paid until a couple months later. The long story, I'm just like, I'm glad I got paid. I'm glad I finished it. And I do think doing that did help because a couple people did reach out, which is nice. But another situation was once where somebody requested me to work with them, and I said, yes, I would love this. It was honestly my dream project, and I was so excited to get started. It was going to be an 8 month long project. I was like, whoa, this might be like the start of like income paying the like illustration income paying the bills, and it was really exciting. Then I sent them my price list, and they were like, no, I thought you were doing all of this for free. And then like afterwards, when we like made money off of it, you would get like a percentage. I was like, you want me to do like 40 plus hours of work a week for 8 months and just, yeah. And so when I did say that, and I was really trying to work with them too. I was like, I can like reduce my price in half for now, and you can give me the other half later. And also it was like a friends and family discount at that point, and they were just like, N- n- oh, it got me. They were like, no, why would we pay you this much when we could just have AI do the illustrations? I was like, okay, go ahead and have
Mm.
AI give your fish three fins. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Lots of honestly, it was very surprising. I really didn't expect it to happen, but obviously it's gonna happen. I'm continuing to learn. I still very much think all of this is brand new to me. So yeah, those two experiences specifically that I just mentioned, grew from them. I learned from them. I'm much better at saying no, but still like, trying not to sever those connections. Yeah.
Man, that's interesting to ask somebody to work for free, especially with the cost of things now. That's insane. Um,
Yeah.
so kind of building off of that, you said this is mostly a PW career, like primarily white. Have you had any experience, any biases or anything when it comes to you trying to get a job or anything you've noticed?
I wouldn't necessarily say biases, thankfully, because my art speaks for itself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I very much know I could present my art to a room of anybody. As long as my face is not attached to it, my art speaks for itself. So I definitely don't think I've really gotten any biases in the sense of like, I want this illustrator because they're white instead of the black girl. But at the same time, like navigating this space as the only black person. I please, and I say this every time, every chance I get because I want somebody to correct me, but I still have yet to meet a black science illustrator, and I would love to, and I would love to work with them, and I would love to just hear their journey and how they got to where they are. But yeah, no, I think my biggest biases right now in the field is just my age and my lack of experience. I'm really going against people that have 20 plus experience in this career. There's like an illustration gig I think I applied for. It was an intro illustration gig, like bare minimum work, like 10 hours a week. And I look at the application list, there's over 400 applicants, all with 20 plus experience. And it's like, it's also like sucks because the people with the 20 plus experience, it's hard for them too because they have to apply for intro level jobs because there are no like illustration gigs out there. So it's like, we're all struggling out here, you know? But I think that's one of my biggest biases. My portfolio is not big enough yet. I'm new to this. I'm young. I definitely feel like I'm not giving it as much time as I want to because I also have to figure out how to live life. But it all comes with time. I'll get better and better. But yeah,
So what are some of the pieces you're most proud of?
some of the pieces I'm most proud. Okay. I think one of my first illustration gigs right out of school was at the Moat Aquarium in South Florida.
Yeah, I know Moat.
I Yeah, I think that internship as a whole, I think was one of my favorite projects. Like within the internship I did multiple projects, but I think it was just really amazing because I was the exhibit design and science illustration intern, and it was just really amazing to like see my work go from like sketch to like actual printed sign in front of like an aquarium tank that's like describing what cuttlefish are and the flamboyant cuttlefish and the dwarf cuttlefish, and I'm like, this is my work, this is my art. Like I feel like the models that like model for the beauty stuff and they go to CVS and they see their face on the thing, like that's how I felt like walking through the aquarium. It's just very like it's just very like whoa, like the little kid inside of me is very proud of me right now. So that's just been really that's really fun. And then with at that aquarium also I had the opportunity to like work with the education department a lot. And I think working with the education department really emphasized for me that I not only want to do illustration, but I want to use my illustrations to educate people, especially like our younger generations. And so working with the education team, I also did a little like video tutorial on how to draw a spotted eagle ray for like the little kiddos in celebration of Dot Day. And Dot Day is literally just a day where we celebrate art. And it's like, if you can draw a dot, you're an artist. And it was like the cutest thing ever. So I obviously drew a spotted eagle ray because they're full of dots. And that little video is honestly one of my favorite things. I watch it all the time. And it's just me drawing a little spotted eagle ray. Yeah, I think those are one of my favorites.
Okay, I remember you mentioning earlier how field work it wasn't hitting the same for you and you're enjoying drawing more. So how have you been able to transition from doing biology into art? Do you ever see yourself doing field work or want to do scientific papers or anything like that in the future? Or do you feel yourself in this science communication role now and that's where you want to stay at?
I definitely think I definitely don't think I'm gonna be writing any papers of my own anytime soon, unless it's literally related to how art like increased education, increased whatever, whatever. Um, my name is Dre. My dad's obsessed with me getting my PhD, so he can call me Dr. Dre. And I actually started thinking about it a little bit, and I was like, it might be like a PhD in education, and then incorporating my art with that. I definitely see. I actually just applied to another little science illustration gig where it would take me in the field. So yes, I kind of see myself in the field, but as the illustrator. You know, I'm not in the field collecting samples or data or anything. Just collecting the natural. What's the word? What's the word? Just whatever I'm studying at the moment, basically being able to capture them in their natural habitat. I think that's kind of where I see myself if I'm ever like in the field. Um, but no, I love the comforts of my home. I love drawing on my iPad. I love sending my work out. But yeah, at most, I think if I were ever in the field, it would probably be to like capture that organism like in its natural habitat, which sounds amazing. So yeah.
What do you think drew you away from field work? From like just from a lot of people I've met who've done marine science, who've been on this show or done other like kind of biosciences, they always talk about I love being out there. I want to feel the water or whatever. So having someone who's yes, field work isn't so much for me is interesting. So I'm just wondering why
Yeah.
why that choice. Not saying anything wrong with it, but I'm just wondering
Yeah,
why
yeah.
you don't want to do it. Yeah.
I think I don't think I don't want to do it. I do think I don't want to do it. Maybe because I'm lazy. I don't know. I'm being honest. Like field work is exhausting. Like I'll be out in the sun, and especially in South Florida, please. But I think it's also because I didn't have that marine science field experience. You know, my field work was in the desert climate of California, where we're like tagging birds and collecting not bearded dragons, a little dragon thingies, the little lizards and snakes and stuff. And so it was very like just yeah, not even the natural habitat I grew up in. You know, very dry, very brown, very look it looks dead, but it's not dead. That was also really fun to learn about in college. Actually, how a lot of vegetation, especially in Cali, looks dead, but it's not dead. That's how it works. And so I think it's just like my internships. The one that brought me to Washington, like my mentor was so great. She like gave me the opportunity to like go explore the other internships at the Whale Museum. And yeah, once I was able to go to with the Sound Watch, and we were like on the boat, and I like saw orcas for the first time, and I like got to help save a little baby seal that was like abandoned, and it was super fun and it was great. But I think it was more so like, this was fun for today. Now let's go to the office
Hmm.
tomorrow, you know? And like, yeah, let's go back out next week. Not like every day. I don't think it's for me. I don't think it's for me. I love it. I love being out on the water. I love being out on the ocean. Yeah, it's not for me. I love that it's
Okay.
for other people though.
So
because
it's
you
kind of like a
send me the
field trip.
research and I'll draw it for you. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a field trip.
Yes.
That sounds
So like
so
a field
rude, but
trip.
it
Yeah.
is a field trip for me. Yeah, and it's like
No,
that's
no.
the thing.
That's
I think once before for one of my gigs, I got to go out into the field because she wanted me to see the actual thing, and I was like, "Oh, this is what you do all the time. This is cute." Yeah, yeah.
You see, I was a kid in high school and in like elementary school especially where I wanted to do field trips all the time, and I'm at the point now where I'd like to be in the field 50% of the time or more because I mean I like how you said being in the lab, not necessarily being in the lab, but being on my computer doing work there. But I also love sitting in the lab. Like I've sat in the lab till 4 a.m. doing my own projects before because I was so interested in something that I was doing. So for me, it's kind of I'd want to be half my time I'm actually in the water, swimming, diving, whatever it takes for my research, or even on the beach, and the other half in the lab on my computer kind of thing. And then you're like, no lab, no water. I want to do these I want to do my drawings. I want to have fun. And then you send me the pictures of what I do. I'll draw them, or I'll go take the pictures with
Yep.
you, and then I'll draw them. So that's just interesting because I'm like, oh, the
Yeah.
two things I love the most. You're like, nope, wouldn't touch it.
Nope, not for me. And you know what though, Dietrich? I do love me some data. I will work and organize some data because then that also helps with my illustrations. But that might be where I draw the line.
Okay. So you're speaking a bit about science communication before. What are some barriers in science communication that you've seen, especially with some of your work? I know you're talking about in South Florida with people not being as much of stewards of the environment as they would be in on the West Coast. What are
Yeah.
some things you've seen in science communication that you want to change and that you want to people to know more about?
I think one of my biggest things, and this is something that I've said since I started illustrations, like back in college, when I was creating my field guides with my whales, my thing was I was not going to use any words that my little sister who was in oh no, not my little sister, I don't know, it was basically like accessible language, accessible language, accessible language. I was like, I'm moving in this world with an upper with a higher education level in biology and science, and I'm like reading all these papers and all of these like educational materials that are meant to help the rest of the world like understand its natural world. But then I'm like, I'm understanding all this jargon, but I'm like, I don't even know what this means because I took a whole course in it. And so, like, one thing that I really honed in on with my illustrations and my work, especially my field guides, is only accessible language. If I have to use a scientific name, I'll then give you the common name. If I have to,
Mm-hmm.
like, say the pectoral fin, like, I'll make sure I highlight, like, that is just, like, the arm version. Like, I am very, especially when it comes to kids, I think a lot of my work is geared towards kids and younger generations, so I'm very quick with like comparing, like, so a pectoral fin is like our arm, and then we have two pectoral fins on our arms, and they're connected to our pecs, which is our chest, and that's how you can remember the name. And just accessible language, I think that's been my biggest barrier since starting this career, and just letting people know you don't have to, you letting people know that, like, honestly, also big words scare people away, you know? So like if
Yeah,
I don't know what
absolutely.
just came out of your mouth, I've already stopped listening. And I'm like trying to come up with an example right now. I usually have examples, or I'm like, instead of saying this, you can just say that. And yeah, that's, I think that's one of the biggest barriers, is just reminding people, if you're creating scientific works that are meant to go out to the general public, accessible language, keep it like elementary school vocab. And I'm not like, that's not a bad thing, but yeah, there's not a lot of, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna stop talking. Also trying to do better at knowing when to cut myself off.
Oh no, you don't have to. On this episode's about you. I don't want you to have to cut yourself out. You go as long as you want to. So speaking to your point on that's interesting because for what I when I do my communication stuff, so whether it's a talk at somewhere or any kind of graphic, whatever the case may be, just like on my Instagram for this show, I always try to make sure that whatever I'm putting, my mom can understand. Like that's my baseline.
Yep.
That if my mom can
Yep.
understand it, it's good if she can follow it because my mom's a teacher and she's probably the
Yep.
least scientifically inclined out of everyone in my
Yeah.
family, like in my household. So I was like, okay, can you understand this? Do you see what I'm saying? When I'm giving this presentation, do you understand what I'm trying to say? And she's like, yeah, this is good. But I never want to alienate people because I feel like, especially with science, a lot of us can be uh, get on our high horse, especially people who are very like in the academia focused sphere of it. They can be on their high horse about a lot of things, or oh, we got to call it this name because I've been taught to give it this name, and everybody before me is giving it this name, so I'm gonna give it this name, and that's kind of how you earn your stripes. They don't actually care about how it's done. Versus
Yep.
for me, I'm like, I don't care about like I see dolphins on your screen back there. I don't need you to tell me
Yep.
the name of that. I just need you to know that this is a bottlenose dolphin. That's what matters, not the name.
Mm-hmm.
Because with some of these things, what we're trying to do is give people information, and if our information is only good
Yeah.
with other people who have a degree in marine biology, I think it's useless because those people already know. Like, we don't need the
Yeah.
eggheads to know anymore. They already know this stuff. They can look it up themselves. We
Yeah.
need this for people that aren't going to look up that stuff and go to the library and look up a scientific paper.
Yes.
Read someone who's base level education, who maybe from different walk of life, be like, oh, I know
Yes.
exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're trying to say with these
Someone that's
sharks.
never
I just
seen the
think,
ocean before.
yeah, and I feel like you want to
Yes.
illustrate that with your words, no pun intended, but you want to illustrate what you're trying to
Yep.
say to people. I think that's just so important. I'm happy that you did the science communication thing, especially when we were at BIMS week. You were showing the field guides and how it was accessible, even like frogs and lizards and all these different things that I'm like, okay, like I don't do any kind of stuff like that, but I know what's going on. I think that that's so important because I feel like that elitism when it comes to academia or science can be really bad for us working with the
Yeah.
communities, because then people are like, oh, you're trying to word salad me to death right now. I don't want to deal with this because you're
No.
acting like you're smarter than me, and that offends me. And I know that can be a big thing. So thanks for the
Exactly.
doing the work that you're
And
doing.
I was gonna say you were like reminding me too that emphasizes like you're saying like South Florida versus like the West Coast, the stewardness for the land is like not the same. I'm also realizing that's because the the people that live in South Florida, the 1% that are doing the research and do know all the jargon, all the terms, and do care for the ocean and do their best, the other 99% are tourists and don't live here and they come and go, and I think
Hmm.
that's also a really big thing with like our conservation efforts are hard because if you're a resident, I think it's easier to reach out because you know it's every day, but there's so many people just coming and going. It's gotten to the point, thankfully, our South Beach, don't come to South Beach anymore for spring break because you're not going to have a good time because we've gotten so, people come and just destroy the coast. It's so bad. But now it's like 8, 7 p.m., you off the beach, no drinking, no glass, no, yeah, they're very, very strict, very serious about that curfew. So yeah, don't come to South Beach for spring break anymore. It's not fun, guys.
And that's something I never really thought of, is that Florida is almost like the party state. People fly in from
Yeah,
wherever, or even like
yeah,
snowbirds. Like, people will have a house here or whatever. They're not even experiencing things all the time, so they can ruin things, whatever, for that period of time and never experience their consequences. And I never realized how many people move from other places to Florida. Like, I'm a person who's moved from other places here, and so I don't know everything about what goes on. But I've met a lot of people who are born and raised here saying, yeah, people come in, they kind of just like try people from North come in and they treat it any kind of way, and they treat it like it's Pennsylvania or Kansas or whatever the case may be. And it's not like that. You can't just throw things this way. Like, the way we're able to make money is off the tourism, off the land staying clean, and they find out that a lot of people who are doing the littering and all these kind of things aren't from here. So something else that I'm wondering, I like to ask this to every guest on Black Nerds Matter, but I want to know what you think makes you a nerd. And I don't want to hear anything art related. I want to hear something else.
I think what makes me a nerd is my curiosity. Honestly, if I was a cat, I'd probably be dead already because I just want to know. I just want to know. I just want to know. Maybe it's like curiosity, a little bit of nosiness. I want to know, and so I think what makes me a nerd is like you said, the dolphins behind me. You're like, you don't have to tell me it's a dolphin. You just have to tell me it's a bottlenose. But now I want to know, why is it a bottlenose? Like, why isn't it called something else? And what are the other ones called? And why does he have the hole there? And why does his teeth look like this? And how did you know it was a dolphin and not a porpoise? And I think that's why I think that's what makes me a nerd is I'll go all out with the why. And honestly, I don't. My thing is like it sounds aggressive, but like I won't back down until I understand what you're saying because I genuinely want to know what you're talking about. I know you're a nerd, and I know you're passionate about the thing I'm asking you about. So I really want you to nerd out with me, and I genuinely want to know. So I'm like, we're not walking away until I understand what you're trying to tell me because I know you really want me to understand, and I really want to understand. And so I think that's where my nerd comes out. I just love to learn, especially when it comes to the natural world and especially the ocean. Yeah, that's where I nerd out, I think.
Okay, that's we nerd out the most, is the ocean. I mean, I'm sure growing up there, you have that access to the beach. I can't imagine. Like, I wish when I was a kid I had access to the ocean like that, because I feel like that's the most like wonderful thing you can have. You know.
Yeah, it is. It was pretty great. It that blew my mind going to school in California, realizing 18 years old I'd never seen a mountain in my life. But then on the flip
Hmm.
side, like my roommate's like, I've never seen the ocean. I'm like, what? Yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, it was definitely mind blowing.
That's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
the mountain one is definitely real. I when I went back to the West Coast for work, I was like, man, I haven't seen mountains since I was a kid living in Pennsylvania. Like, I haven't seen snow in 4 or 5 years because I've been living here going to school. So that kind of stuff
So,
was awesome, and that's why I like, traveling different places,
mhm.
diverse stuff. I love that. And speaking of diverse work, what would your dream project be? Like, what would be like your dream animal or thing to draw or make a graphic on? I want to know. If you had unlimited money, someone was paying for it, what would you want to do?
Easy peasy. I'm still waiting for that children's book. I want to illustrate a children's book so badly, and I would love if the book was like related to the ocean in some way. I want to create a little black girl scientist character at some point. Obviously, make her like based off me, but like incorporated into this book somehow. Like, yeah, since I got into illustrations, I knew like the dream project is just gonna be a children's book. I really want to illustrate a children's book, and if that book turns into a series, I'm not gonna complain. Yeah.
I just love hearing how enthusiastic you are about different things in science and the communication and the art aspect. So I want to know a bit about your day-to-day life. So I know you do some tutoring, you do some working with schools. How has that experience been for you, and what has that taught you?
My day to day life, it has taught me that I am a hustler, that I know that I'm going to do what I need to do to get things done, to support myself, to feed myself. And yeah, my day to day right now, especially because it's summertime, I'm also a teacher, but right now, because it's summertime, it was really, really hard. So when the school year ended, when summer started, literally the month of June, I was just in la la land. I was struggling. I had no routine. I had no income. Everybody had just finished school. Thankfully, I have savings, so we're chilling. But like, yeah, I had nothing. But then July came around, and I got back into routine. Parents got their stuff together, so now my basically my day to day is Tuesday to Thursday. I'm basically tutoring all day with all of my little kiddos, either from the school year before or I like met them word of mouth and stuff. So I do tutor a lot during the summer. And then I'm also in these classes, like I mentioned. I'm gonna be a fire safety inspector, hopefully in a couple months.
Oh,
That's
nice.
that government job I was talking about. So I have those night classes and then homework. But to be honest, I try to put all of my like busy to do list stuff Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Monday, and Friday. I want to tell you that I do science illustration stuff and that I draw and that's what I want to do. That's not what's been happening in the month of July. No, but that was like the goal when July started and I had finally got my routine down. But I after we hang up with this, I have one tutoring session that I have to like finish up that I rescheduled for this week, and the plan is to come home and start drawing on this Friday. This will be the start of the Friday drawings, so we'll see. But yeah, for right now, for the summer, it's just a lot of hustling and getting gigs and stuff. With this new gig I got in Seattle, just trying to figure out how to incorporate that with my schedule and making sure I finish everything on time. The deadline's in December, so I think I have some time. But again, once the school year gets started again, if I start teaching or not, that's going to change some things around. So, yeah, a lot of things are up in the air, especially because it's summertime. So I'm also trying to remind myself that, like, it's summer. That's why I'm all over the place. You know, it's definitely a lot more routine during the school year.
So I know you're working with kids, and I'm sure you see their reaction to drawings and how like they're super excited, everything. Why do you think that visual storytelling is such a powerful tool for science communication?
It's that initial look, that first take, that like eye contact of just like, whoa, what am I looking at? Versus like you get a paper and you see your two columns of just words. Like what sparked the attention? Like what caught your eye? Versus adding a huge illustration of an octopus or a fish or something, and it's just that initial spark of curiosity, I think, for me, that makes like illustrations when it comes to science communication so important, because it's just literally just the picture. You don't even have to read the title. You don't have to read the paper. Just seeing the image is literally gonna already make you want to ask, like, what am I looking at? Like, what is this? Let me learn more. And I think that's like flat out is just it. Just like that initial spark of curiosity. I think is what illustrations do for communication.
I think that's really that's a really good point. I mean, I think about the books I enjoyed the most as a child were ones with big pictures. Like I have a book that has a shark and it's like a 3D model. I actually talked about this on the last episode I
Mm-hmm.
recorded, but I could see all
Mm-hmm.
the pieces on the inside. I knew an artist had to come together to make that, and it's just really cool. I mean, I feel like it's very inspiring. I have a big book called just it's just sharks, and it has all these different species. It has all the taxonomic trees, and it shows
That
the
one, but
pictures.
fish.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it shows all the types of sharks, all the different ones, cat sharks,
Mm-hmm.
white sharks, mackerel sharks, like all these different things. And that was really cool for me. And it was one of my favorite. Like I still look at it from time to time now because I was like, wow, this just gave me everything I needed. It shows me the scientific aspect of it, but I get to see those things, and I love that. I mean, even I go when I see a cool animal on Instagram or YouTube or just in my day to day life, I go on Wikipedia and look at it and try to find all the pictures and what do they do and all these different
Mm-hmm.
things. So I think that's just it's just such an important medium
Mm-hmm.
for people to understand what's going on because I don't think I would have been as excited about biology, say if I grew up in the 60s or 70s when I didn't have as many readily available
Yeah.
drawings or pictures. I don't think I would have loved it, or even like Shark Week, that kind of stuff. I don't think I would have loved what I'm doing as much now, so I would never be able to see it. And growing up somewhere where I didn't grow up on the coast, I didn't see sharks in Pennsylvania. I didn't see sharks in Texas. I didn't see the type of animals I like. And if I never
Yeah.
went to if I never saw these things on TV or in books, I don't think I would have been as excited about what I'm doing now as I would have been.
Yeah, and I think one thing too that I also emphasize all the time is the stylization that you can do with illustrations, like versus because everyone's like, why can't you just put a picture? A picture catches people's eye. You're so right, but also it's like a picture of a fish. Like everybody has seen a fish, so it's like it's still not as like whoa versus like a stylized version of that picture of a fish. It is just the vibrancy of colors that you get with an art piece versus a picture, the just like honing in on those specific highlighted details that you actually want people to focus on. I just, yeah, illustrations are where it's at.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think about TV in particular because I watch a lot of shows where they'll have a live action version and then a drawn version. So for instance, Hates Chris was live action show that was out, and they made a animated like revival of it
Mm-hmm.
recently. And so I just saw how certain jokes got off the ground better in the animated one because you can draw this happening, you can draw a character's head like getting huge or something
Yeah,
happening to really emphasize what's going on versus um with practical effects in real life it's harder to do that. So I'm like,
yeah,
oh yeah, that joke was really good. That would not have worked as much in the real life one. Even the real life one, some of the jokes wouldn't have worked as well. Like they
yeah,
work better in the real life version than they do in the illustrated one because some things just when you see a person's expression, it's like, oh, that's really good or whatever the case may be. So I just think
mm,
it's really interesting to see how those two things can work together or be
yeah.
different. I think it's really important to have those drawings because you can get that emphasis that you wouldn't be able to get in real life.
Okay, that's really cool that you mentioned that. I was say because I'm about to nerd out right now too because I think another dream project of mine would be an animation. I've been on this animation kick lately on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen the I've seen the Mona and that K-pop Demon Hunter. They're so good, and I think I don't know if you know much about animation, but like you said, I just have so much more appreciation for animation simply because I know the artists that were behind these went frame by frame by frame, and every single face and finger movement and thing is like intentional because somebody sat there and drew every line, and that just like changes the way I like watch TV, especially animations. And yeah, that definitely another dream project of mine. I have a couple animations in my book. I'm also suck at posting. I don't post much. I need to get better at that, but yeah, the animations, I 100% agree with you. The way you can like emphasize things, it's so beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm just a huge animation fan. Like always have been. Like been a kid
huge.
that watched Avatar, Ben 10, all these kind of things with my daddy growing up. So for me, even now watching animation or anime, whatever the case, it's like whoa.
Hmm.
And when I see stuff like I don't know if you're familiar with Invincible, but that's a show on Amazon, and and there's been like a whole thing people talking bad about the show because oh the animation's bad, whatever the case may be, and then they have some of the animators coming out and on YouTube or whatever and talking about it, saying, hey, we had deadlines. It was actually like a 10-person team, and we got 2 or 3 seasons done in 2 years. So, and we did like a TV special and all that. Like, we understand you guys are making jokes and all these things, but
It's hard.
we're not getting the time, we're not getting the budget, all these different things. And I'm like, oh my god, like I know people, I see people on the internet posting like hate mail and like threats to the animation team because they're like, oh, I hate that how lazy it's done. Da, da, da. I'm like, you have no idea how much that goes into it. And I was just kind of wondering, like as an artist, how often have you ever felt things like that and just seen that people like, oh,
Hmm.
people don't really don't understand how hard this is. Like I'm doing these things for them. Like that's like I just want to know like
Yeah.
your opinion on things like that and how like artists can be like taken advantage of or not respected in that kind of way.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said, especially every day. Every day I have to basically prove that what I do, it does take work, and time, and that it has value. Like me drawing has value compared to like my dad going to work every day, my mom going to work every day, like me, what I do does have value. It's also so much harder today because it would have been easier for me 5 years ago to say like art takes time, you need skill, you need experience, you need work ethic, you need this, when AI exists and you could type 3 words and you get an art image right then and there. And then like that, we can get into that. Of course, we all know like those are not scientifically accurate. This, and that, and the third. But like you can get started with AI, and it can get you somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are like that's like my big boss right now. And like I said, it's not fun because I am a new artist, and so I really can't just walk away from anybody right now. I would love to have that power, but yeah, it's to the point where I'm meeting with people, I'm having meetings, and we're talking, we're discussing, and I'm mentioning timeline, and I'm mentioning prices, and they're just like, it shouldn't take that long, and it shouldn't be that expensive, and can't AI can just do it, and why does it why, and I'm like, and it sucks too because I like break it down. Like I'll give you a price. I'll be like, okay, Dres, like you want this piece for $100? It's gonna take me 4 hours to do it, and my price range is $25 an hour plus supplies plus this plus that. And so like at the end of the day, you're actually like getting a deal, but then you're still like, no, but 100 is too expensive. You can't do it for 40 because this person can do it for 40. And I'm just like,
Or
so we
AI
were
could do it
sitting
for
here
free.
talking, yeah, we were sitting here talking for 2 weeks for you to then say, no, I'm gonna just go to the cheaper person because they're cheaper. But then it's like there's this triangle that I always like emphasize to people that I learned in school. Three things. You have three options. You can only pick two: good, cheap, and fast. You can only pick two. So yeah, that's kind of like what I use to like emphasize like it. Yeah, it's definitely hard. And yeah, people that aren't artists just don't know like it does take time. It does take energy. Like it takes a toll on my body. I know I'm just like coloring and drawing, but it it is work. And yeah, having to like prove that every time I have a gig sucks. So I'm excited to get to the point where I'm like, you know what? If I'm not worth your time, it's okay. We can both move on.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to know you. I mean, you jumped into it a bit talking about AI. What is your opinion on that, even just as a tool in general, and how it affects the art world?
My opinion on AI is that it sucks and that it shouldn't exist and that it's probably going to make my career obsolete in the next decade, maybe sooner. And wherever AI's heart exists, somebody should just like destroy it. Yeah, that's how I feel about AI. Yeah.
Wow. So you never
Yeah.
use it in any of your like not your work, but I'm saying like day-to-day stuff or planning or anything?
My for when it comes to illustration work and research, I don't use AI at all. I do use ChatGPT to help with my lesson plans, not gonna lie. When it's like time to tutor my kids, just because like I don't have access to like teacher resources and materials the way other teachers
Mm-hmm.
do during the summer. It's that's a different story. But I do use AI, and I know that's not good. I know it's not good, and I beat myself up every time I use it. The convenience is there, just like Amazon. You shouldn't be using Amazon, but the convenience and the pricing and this is that and the third, but I definitely keep it away from my illustration world as much as possible. I've never asked AI to create an image for me, and I never will.
Okay. I was just wondering
Yeah.
because I use it with just things I do in regular life, like even just sometimes with emails. Like for me, it's hard. I feel like it's one of these things that can be like with anything, you can over rely on it, or good things can be used for bad things. But for instance, like with the show in particular, I have to use it because I'm one person and I can only do so much when I have other projects or whatever. So I'm like, hey, can you uh search through like this person's LinkedIn or search through this thing for me, whatever. And I think it's using it in a responsible way. Like for instance, I go through and see what it gave me and see, okay, is that actually true? And I do my due diligence and my work to look
Yes.
through it. But for me, a lot of it
Yes.
is just a way to, and I'm not saying this to defend it or say it's like, oh, this great thing, but I was just saying that I think that it's it has its place. And for me, it's like something I use to do the menial tasks that I don't want to do on my own. I
Yeah.
use it so I can have more time to do things that I like. But I see for you and
Hmm.
what your career and what you're doing, all the stuff you like, you have to do by hand. Versus for me, I don't. Like when I'm writing an email or I need something, just, hey, I have all these columns of stuff. Can you just organize this into one paragraph and then I can read it and then put my actual thought into it, but I just need it all in one place because there's these are four different things that I've written throughout the last 4 or 5 years, and I really don't have the
Hmm.
time to put it all together. I need something to just put it together for me
Hmm.
and make my
Hmm.
thoughts concise so that I can actually go through and see if this is what I actually want. So I was
Yeah.
just wondering what your opinion was on it because I know a lot of people have, especially scientists, have mixed feelings, and it's
Hmm.
like for me, I'm like I just need it for the menial stuff that I don't care to do,
Yeah.
like for the punctuation on my email because I need to send 10 emails. I need these done in 2 minutes
Yeah.
and I can't write out 10 real emails right now because it's just so much to
Hmm.
do.
No, I think we're on the same boat. I think as an illustrator, trying to respect, like, you remember when the whole thing in Hollywood and everybody like walked out and it was like a thing? Kind of like that's how I feel when it comes to me and my community with illustrators, trying to respect our work and like not use AI because it is taking our jobs. It's like making our lives harder when we're already struggling to find jobs. But just like you said, yeah, I use AI when I don't want to create a factoring math worksheet and I can't find one online or something. You know what I mean? So 100%, yes, use it. And that's what AI is for. The minuscule tasks, like the things that we don't want to do, not the things that take people's jobs away. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'd never have it write a scientific paper for me or create a presentation. You know what I mean? Like it would never be something like that. I know some people like there's been times when I've seen people get in trouble for having AI in manuscripts, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, yeah, like I like that's kind of thing
Crazy.
like when you go to school, hey, like if you look up another person's paper, you're gonna get in trouble. You're not gonna know what's on the test. Like I feel like it's one of those kind of things
Yeah.
where it's yeah, you have to use it in the right way. But if you try to use it to do your job or make things or yeah, if you try to use it for those kind of things, like you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot, so to speak. Or if you make an image that's bad with AI or whatever, and people can notice that,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, yeah, this isn't like a real image, but we don't like that because there's a stigma about those things. So it's just interesting to hear someone's perspective on it because I feel like it's like this thing that's a big deal now, especially with
Hmm.
ChatGPT and everything. And like I use it, I said I probably use it more than I should, but there's just so many things that I do. Like I want to have time to go
Yeah.
diving and surfing. I don't want to
To
type out a
breathe
million memes. Like I just don't.
makes so much sense. Yeah.
And so I'm wondering,
Mm.
what are some of your big goals in the future for your career, and what are the next steps looking like for you?
Big goals. Next steps. I think the next steps for me are continuing to make connections, continuing to build my portfolio with different jobs and like gigs that I pick up and contracts that I grab. I think I think the next big goal is in the next 5 years. I'm going to be like, I think my biggest goal right now is financial stability. And so
Hmm.
that's my biggest goal right now for the next 5 years. And getting this new job is going to help. And with that financial stability will then come like more focus on my actual illustration career. And then, like, yeah, the next big steps for that are just doing projects and posting about my projects and putting my name out there and putting my portfolio out there and putting my work out there. And I need to brag about myself. I need to network myself. I need to like get out there. I just Yeah, I'm not a, and I'm such a people person. I'm just not a, look at me, I'm the best. Like, come, you know what I mean? And I need to get over that because I am good at what I do, and people should pay me for my work. I just need them to actually do it now. So, yeah.
Okay, sweet. Thank you so much for being with us on the show. I have one last question before we sign off, and that's where can people see your work and support what you do? We've been talking about getting these artists paid, and we want to get you paid. So tell the people.
Yes. Where can you see my work? I think the best place to find me right now is on Instagram at Dre Illustrates, Dre underscore illustrates, and then in my bio you can see my link to my website, link to my LinkedIn, link to my Instagram, my Gmail, illustrations by Dre at Gmail if you want to like reach out to me about like prices, if you want to reach out to me about like my experience, where I went to school, and like how I got all of that. I love to respond to an email. But yeah, I think Instagram at Dre underscore illustrates would be the best place to find like all my information and some posts of my work. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Jay, for being on the show. It was
Thank
awesome having this
you.
conversation, hearing more about art. I'm learned so much today. So thank you so much, and everyone, thank you for tuning in to Black Nerds Matter. Make sure to check us out on different streaming platforms to check out Dre's art. And with that being said, Black Nerds Matter is out. Peace.
Thank you. Bye.